Most guitarists never learn the guitar fretboard. Now, it's not because they're lazy, it's not because they're untalented. Unfortunately, it's just because they don't have the right approach. Now, through my ebook, Fretboard Secrets, which has been downloaded over 100,000 times at this point, I teach the guitar fretboard in 6 simple steps. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing in this video. Now, I'm going to bring it up, we're going to go through it, and by the end of this video, you're going to have the foundation to go out there and learn the guitar fretboard. But I also want to talk about why it is important not to just go out and memorize the fretboard. Now, when you look at your guitar fretboard, you might just, your head just might go in a wobble. There's all these different notes, but it's important to understand that it's just one big pattern. Now, what a lot of people do, and it's the biggest mistake when it comes to trying to learn the guitar fretboard, is they just try to memorize it. Why does it matter to just know all these different notes if you don't understand how it all works? It's like looking at a book, memorizing the words, but not understanding how the sentences are actually structured together. So it's important to know that you shouldn't just memorize the fretboard, but you should go out there and understand how it works. All right, let's start learning our guitar fretboard together. All right, the first secret that I give to my students, now I say secret, it's really just a part, but the word secret, it's cool. Okay, the first secret is the musical alphabet. So that's the first step to understanding your guitar fretboard. It's understanding the pattern of the guitar, because that's what the musical alphabet is. It is just the pattern that makes up your guitar fretboard. So the first step is understanding how that pattern is structured and how we actually say the notes. So it's all broken down here, and you can download this 100% free down below, no strings attached. It's a free PDF. Over 100,000 people have downloaded it. It's A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. Now, how are you going to understand this? How are you going to remember it? Well, there's a simple exercise that I recommend students practice to get this down, and that is you start on your 5th string, you pick that, and that is your A. So you pick your 5th string, and that is your A. And after you do that, you're going to say the musical alphabet, and if you say it correct, when you get to the 12th fret note, once you get all the way up here where it has the 2 different dots, this should be A again. So you start all the way down here, you go A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F. You keep going. And if you're correct, when you get to this note up here, the 12th fret, you should be at A. So that's the first step to understanding that. And you can see a visual representation of it here. Now, you want to think of the musical alphabet as a circle, because after you get to the top, well, you just go right back to A. So you see all the way at the end, after we get there, we go back to A. So it's a big circle. So think of it that way, right? When you go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it just repeats over and over and over again. So that's the first step to understanding your guitar fretboard. Understanding the musical alphabet pattern, and the way you're going to do that is by starting on the 5th string, working your way up, and if you say the musical alphabet correctly, you should end off back at A. And as I said one more time, you can download this 100% free. We're going to go through this the entire time by looking in the description below. 100% free. Why? Because I'm a nice guy. Okay, let's get into the next part. All right, the next step to understanding your guitar fretboard is by applying the musical alphabet to each of the guitar strings. Now, I'm sure you know this already, but the 6 different guitar strings are E, A, D, G, B, E. Now, how are you going to remember this? Well, what I like to do is I like to say an acronym, which is every adult dog growls, barks, eats. Why this? People have a million different acronyms they say. I like to put this one because that's the one I learned. I think it was the first thing that popped up on Google when I was trying to learn the guitar strings years and years ago. So I just learned, when you're doing your guitar strings, every adult dog growls, barks, eats. There's a million ones. It doesn't really matter. Just pick one out on the internet and apply that to your guitar strings. Say it over and over again to understand it. You might be looking at me right now saying, Andrew, I already know the guitar strings. What are you talking about? And if that's you, let's get into applying the musical alphabet to each of those guitar strings. So you can see here what you're going to do. You're going to pick each of those guitar strings and you're going to apply the musical alphabet to it. So we have E, A, D, G, B, E, every adult dog growls, barks, eats. And we're just applying the musical alphabet. So for example, if we're starting on the E here, we're going to apply the alphabet, which if you haven't memorized is E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. And then at that point, you're at A, and you go all the way back up with the music alphabet. Now, what you're going to do, you're going to apply this to all the other ones as well. You already know the 5th string. You should already know the 4th string, 3rd string, and you just apply the alphabet to it. So it's important to understand it as well. This isn't memorizing as well. When you go through this, you're learning it in a pattern, right? So if you're always starting back here, you're always starting on your open strings, you're never going to really memorize all the notes because your mind's always going to connect it here. So if you're, going all the way up here, you're like, okay, what's this note? You're going to kind of work your way back. Well, okay, I know the 1st string note, which is G, and work your way all the way up here. So this is more just an exercise. It's not going to get you an understanding of all the notes. It's just to understand the music alphabet, starting up here and going all the way up. The truth is, if you want to actually know all the different notes, you need to memorize certain sections, which is actually what we are doing next. Okay, now I would recommend actually memorizing certain frets. And the frets that I recommend memorizing are your 3rd, your 5th, your 7th, your 9th, and then your 12th. Now, this is going to take some time. It might take, weeks. It might take months for you to do this, but this is just the next step. And there's going to be some other things I want to talk about after this. You shouldn't be just doing these things to understand the fretboard. To understand the fretboard, you also need to be sprinkling in, learning different soloing shapes, all that stuff, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Okay, so you're going to learn these different shapes. So you learn the 3rd fret, you're going to learn the 5th, the 7th, the 9th, and then the 12th. And you see, I put this little note in. You do not need to memorize every single note. You just want to get a basic understanding. Why would you, like I said, why would you look at a page in a book and memorize the words? It doesn't make any sense. You want to make sure that you are just understanding it, right? Your fretboard is going to take some time, and I am going to give you some exercises to memorize, but don't just go through that. It's important to have the skill behind it. And at the same time, if you just memorize the notes, it doesn't really matter if you don't have the skill, the left and the right hand skill, and you're playing as well. It's important to have everything together. You can memorize the entire fretboard, know what this note is, know what this note is, but if you don't understand how it works together, you don't have the skill, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's keep going. So this is something that you should think about as well. You should just have fun and experiment sometimes. So one step to understand your fretboard is taking each note, so taking your A, taking your B, C, D, E, F, G, and finding these notes on every single string. Now, we're going to have an exercise that's going to help you with this in a little bit, but this is an important step. You can see like, hey, that A's there, that A's here. We have an A on every single guitar string. You don't need to memorize it, but by understanding it, that is where the success is going to come. So understand that for every single one of our notes, it works the same for our sharp notes as well. It's on all 6 guitar strings. All right, now since I'm such a nice guy, the next step is going to be going through practice exercises. Now, there's a bunch of different exercises that I recommend, and what I've actually done for you is create very long videos to go through the notes on all of the strings. Now, how much is this going to cost? It's going to cost actually it's free. You can download it in the description. It's actually in the free ebook down below. So you can just click on this and it's going to bring you to these different exercises. Now, what I'm going to do now is I just want to explain each one of them. And you don't even need the ebook for this. So you could just, listen to what I'm doing and then practice it on your own. Now, the first exercise that I recommend doing is, going up and down the 7 main notes. So what you do is you pick a string and then all you're going to do is focus on the main notes. And when I say main notes, I mean, you're going to ignore the sharp and the flats. There's going to be some musical snobs in the comments who are going to say, Andrew, that's whole notes. Okay, I get it. Wait, actually, would it be? Let's just move on. Okay, we're just doing the main notes. We're doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So for example, let's pick our 6th string. You'd work your way up and you would just practice the main notes. So you'd go E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Then you go, let's say, to the 4th string. Then we have D, E, F, G, and you work your way up that way as well. Now you might be saying, Andrew, how are you getting this? Why are you skipping frets? The reason I'm skipping frets is because of these different other, sharp and flat notes we have in between. And if you practice the music alphabet, you should understand that, slowly start to get it. And there's a ton of different exercises as well. A lot of these are videos, so it's not like you can practice them on your own. But you click this in there, we have easy, medium, and hard versions of this. So you start with the easy one, and these are videos that maybe 20 minutes. And what it's going to do is it's going to go string by string, and you're going to have to find the main notes on all of those strings. So it's really good practice exercises for you to go through. There's a ton of these. Another exercise you can do is just practice scales out loud. So no matter if it's you can do major scales, you can do pentatonic, no matter what it is, you just go through it and practice it out loud. And this is another exercise that's really gonna help you out. Now let's talk about getting a better understanding of the guitar fretboard. This is part 5. Now there's a couple things you can do in your spare time, a couple tips you can, take to improve your guitar fretboard skill. Now, one exercise that's very good is sight reading up the neck. Now, this is important for people who, are kind of more advanced already and they practice. And what you do is you take just a normal song. And a lot of people do this with our, beginner guitar program as well, because we have these basic songs that'll be, whatever it is, just a normal basic guitar song that is, lower on the guitar fretboard. And you take the same thing and then you go and play it all the way up here. So you can take this and shift it up the neck. Now, this is obviously only important for people who are reading sheet music, because if you're reading tab, you're not really going to understand. There's a lot of theory, right? If you're learning a tab song, let's say you're at the 3rd fret, you're like, oh, that same fret's all the way up here. Doesn't really matter unless you're actually thinking about, oh, this is a G and that's a G. So you need to understand that as well. Now, a really good way to understand your guitar fretboard is by learning to solo and improvise. It's a great way, because what this is going to do, it's going to really challenge you. It's going to make you think about all these different, soloing shapes, and it's really going to challenge you. Now, if you're interested in learning to solo, I have a soloing in 20 days program. It's actually one of our biggest programs that we have. It comes with the workbook, all that stuff. I will put that in the description. I hope to remember that. That's something you can go through as well. That'll really help you out. Now, this is really important as well. You want to learn the shortcuts to finding the different notes on the guitar fretboard. Now, this is important because by learning these shortcuts, it's going to help you understand how the entire fretboard works together. It's also going to help you later on if you ever solo. So what are some different shortcuts? Well, there's a ton. One of the ones is if you want to go from the 1st to the 3rd string, or you want to go from the 2nd to 4th string, you can find that same note by going 2 strings lower and 3 frets down. So for example, you're going from the 1st to 3rd string. Let's say we're on the 5th fret. To find the same note on the 3rd string, and this is the same from the 2nd to the 4th, you go 2 strings lower. So we have this, 1, 2, and then we go 3 frets down, 1, 2, 3. So these are both A's. Same for if we want to find, let's say we're at the 12th fret on the 2nd string. You want to find it on the 4th string, you go 2 strings lower, 3 frets down. So we have these different shapes that we have along the guitar. Now there's other ones you can try out as well. You can try from the 3rd to the 5th string and the 4th to the 6th string. So for example, let's say we're on the 3rd string and we want to go to the 5th string. We want to find the same note on the 5th string. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go 2 strings lower, 2 frets down. So 3rd string, you want to go to the 5th string, 2 strings lower, 2 frets down. So we have this. Now this is the same for the 4th to the 6th. 2 strings lower, 2 frets down. Now there's other ones as well that you can go through. All right, I want to go over a couple final tips to understanding your guitar fretboard. Now, if you've just been watching this video, you haven't paused practice, it's really important that you set some goals and you set a practice routine up. So I'd recommend, 10 minutes, every other day, 10 minutes a day, and start going through, part 1, part 2, part 3. As I said, there's a free download down below. You can download that and actually start going through that on your own. There's exercises in there as well. You can go through them, like I said, 10 minutes a day. Now, if you're really interested in improving as quickly as possible, we also have a Fretboard Pro program here at Acoustic. That'll be in the description as well. That's going to be a little more hands-on if you want that extra help. There's also soloing in 20 days as well, which is going to help you understand your fretboard by learning about all the different shapes. And the way we help you actually learn your fretboard in that program is by focusing on moving the pentatonic shape and the blues scale shapes around the guitar fretboard. Because what a lot of people do is they'll learn the pentatonic scale and then they'll never move it around. So in the soloing in 20 days program, we take this, we slowly, add on to it and we move it all along the guitar fretboard. Now, I'm Andrew Segan, founder of Acoustic.com. If you want those programs, check out the description. Either way, I upload every single week, so make sure to subscribe and check that notification bell. I'll see you very soon.